Two. Welcome everybody to another Pirate National Committee meeting live streamed onto YouTube. My name is Anthony J. Porter. I am the chair of the Pirate National Committee. I am also from Indiana and operating as the provisional director of the Indiana Pirate Party. We are going to identify all of ourselves now, all of the rest of us, and I'm going to start with Drew.
Hi, I'm Drew Bingaman. I am the captain of the Pennsylvania Party.
All right, thank you, Drew. Joe?
Ahoy, I am Joseph Wondrowski out of Massachusetts, and I am the treasurer and the representative for the United States Pirate Party to PPA.
Okay. If you could not hear Joe, he is the current acting representative for Massachusetts, and he is the treasurer of...
Sorry, I'm the backup representative.
Oh, the backup representative. I'm so sorry. I'm not used to Misty being here. We'll get to them. They are the backup representative, and they are also the acting treasurer of the United States Pirate Party. Yari?
Ahoy, hello. I am Yari, aka Rose Klein. I'm from California. I am the current representative of the California Pirate Party and the secretary of the U.S. Pirate Party.
Okay. Mitch?
Hello. I'm Mitch Davila of the Chicagoland chapter of the Illinois Pirate Party. I just did 2 different wrestling shows this weekend, so I'm extremely tired. I'm the Swarm Care Manager of the United States Pirate Party.
All right, thank you, Mitch. Misty, could we please get your name and state identification, preferably over voice, though we do understand if that's not currently possible.
Hi, I'm Misty. I'm Massachusetts representative for the U.S. Pirate Party.
Okay, thank you. That works. All right, so we are done with IDs. Let me check the agenda, or I guess I should check the Etherpad agenda.
Either way, I just updated the other one.
Okay. We can move on to regular reports. IT report is in the notes, but Yari, do you have anything to add to it, or do you just want to talk about what you put?
It's basically just what was on there. Working on adding Stripe to Civi CRM is my thing. I guess actually I will say and specifically I should say the reason why I'm doing that, adding Stripe to Civi CRM, because we already have Stripe for putting payments or for accessing payments on the website, but it's on WordPress, and it would be nice to have it on Civi CRM under the Drupal build, because that way it's sort of integrated already seamlessly into our website, as opposed to with all these extra WordPress add-ons that we're pretty sure are fine and are not doing anything funky with our data, because we've screened them pretty well, but I can't be like 100% sure, and so I want to not use them if we can avoid it. So it would be nice to just like use open source stuff and get it back on Civi. So working on that. Let's see. That's the reason for that. And then I guess the other thing I wanted to say is the Mass Pirates folks are not switching, but are adding a Lumio instance, which is this sort of democratic decision making and discussion board. It's an interesting tool, so I'm intrigued and hope they are able to keep us up to date with how that goes, and not only on the tech side but also in other aspects as well. And if it goes well, then perhaps we can get a guide for how to do it from them to roll out to other states, because that would be great. I've been looking at Lumia for a while. It looks cool.
Okay, thank you so much. Joe?
I'm not 100% sold on it, FYI, but it is working. When your computer's not working, it does allow you to dial in, but then when you dial in, you can't really see half the presentation. So there's that.
Okay, noted. I believe the next committee report is outreach. And Yara, I will, at some point when I get a break, type what I'm about to say into here so you don't have to type it. We have continued our outreach form thing that I decided to set up to get more volunteers. That is more or less closed now. I mean, if someone finds the link, they can put something in there, but I'm not going to be promoting it anymore. And I do believe we have enough volunteers to, one, find a new outreach chair, which I'm very excited about, but also hopefully tackle some of the other projects. Like I'd love to find, a media committee chair or director to handle some of that. That's also something we asked people about. Either way, I will be conducting some interviews with people this week to see who we should place where. And if that's something any of you would like to help me with, feel free. We can talk about that. We have both new faces in that list and a couple old faces, so we probably won't have to interview, Rowan from Illinois naturally, but I just want to make sure that we continue to do our due diligence with our vetting process. So that's what's going on with outreach. Next is platform. Do Joe or Mitch have anything to report?
Yeah, so for platform, we have moved away from the gun argument this week. We'll get back to that at a later date, I assume, shortly. But this last week was spent just talking about national business license cap, or potentially. Just exploring different ideas. This was I asked them what they wanted to talk about, and that was the idea that got thrown out and was discussed. I know there's some. I believe it's Colorado that their business license to $1. So we were just exploring, making it easier for people to start their businesses, and just looking at would a national cap be something to look at. We didn't get much farther than just the intrigue in it, but I've advocated for maximum wage before, so putting a cap on something to make it easier for people, that just sounded real cool.
Okay, thank you so much. Let me look at Joe. If it is more of an ideological thing, like something to add to the platform, I would probably just go ahead and drop in the platform committee chat. But if it's a little more nuanced, I'll let you talk.
I just wanted to say that there have been some developments on the gun stuff, but I will bring that up to platform this next week.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much. Let's see. Let me take one more second to finish typing out the outreach thing. Positions. No, that's fine. Platform is accounted for officers, secretary. You put a report here. It says some work done on documenting processes and on building a bot to make your job easier. Is there anything else you want to add to that?
Not particularly. I mean, I'm making a bot to upload transcripts of meetings. Because I mean, it's a simple task and it doesn't take all that long. But if I can make a bot to do it, why not? So that's that. I'm excited.
All right.
I'm about 2/3 of the way done with that.
I love to hear it. The great thing about better musing about better ways to do economics is that we can make automation help the workers instead of hinder them. I'm a big fan of that. That's a very Piratew value of mine. So getting away from that for a little bit, is there a swarm care report?
I mean, other than the status of a current PNC member state, which I don't know if you want to bring this up in Swarm Care down the line, but past that, there's no real reports.
Okay. Are you looking to make a motion about that?
When it comes time to make motions, I will be willing to make them.
Okay, then we will do that later. Let's see, what other officer reports do we have? Treasury.
Year-end reports are done. The amount of money that's in there is just shy of 300. Not too much to report on that front. I think the next thing is to figure out our yearly budget, and I was working on doing like bumper sticker thing in the last meeting. I haven't gotten that done yet because life, but it will be done soon.
Okay, thank you so much. I don't believe there are any other officers present, so I will go ahead and say that as chair, nothing major or eventful has happened this week. I mean, again, there is the thing Illinois brought up, but I don't think there's anything to really necessarily say about that. If Illinois wants to make a motion, they can make a motion. Other than that, I don't believe I necessarily have anything prepared. We've just been, me, Mitch, ERA every once in a while, emails happen. We try to get to people as quickly as possible, school projects, little things like that. That's always fun to do, but not necessarily super, super important. Just a fun little quirk of being on the board. And I don't believe there's anything else. Yori.
Actually, sort of unrelated to secretary stuff, but I did want to report that pirate chat happened this week.
Oh yes.
And it was amazing. It was great. I am planning on having it again on Tuesday and every Tuesday, and I am going to, in fact, I'm making a note for myself right now that I'm going to have it as a Discord event, because I
Yes.
want to do that, because we have the power to make Discord events. Oh, gosh, where's my pen? There it is. Okay. Because we can make Discord events, like Discord calendar events. So I'm like, okay, why not make it a Discord calendar event that just shows up every week, for the server.
Yes.
So
I think
yeah.
that's a great idea. And I also want to voice my support for Pirate Chat because I'm really glad that you brought it back. That continued long after you went to bed. It was like 3 a.m. And a German pirate eventually joined because he was just waking up for the day. So it was great. Other than that, those are all the officer reports. Is there any further discussion or comment on any of the reports, officer or committee? Okay, I will take that as there being none. There is no new business, or there's no old business, so we're going to move to some of our proposed items of new business. The first one is moving Wisconsin off of probationary status. Who made that motion?
I suppose I put it on there.
You put it on there.
It was, yeah. It was an item up for discussion. I'll say this, which is that Wisconsin, in the bylaws, probationary status lasts a minimum of a month, and then after that, the PNC can vote to take member states who have been on probationary status to move them to inactive status or back into the PNC at their discretion. Because no members have been able to pick up the infrastructure that was left from the Wisconsin Pirate Party, regrettably. I think it is beyond time. It's been a number of months at this point. It's at least 2 or 3.
It's been a year.
It's been a year. Amazing. Yeah. I don't know time. Time is an illusion. So it's been a year. Great. Yeah, we should move Wisconsin onto the inactive list for sure.
Okay, and I'm going to take that as a motion.
Yes, that is a motion. Motion to move Wisconsin onto the off of probation and make Wisconsin an inactive state.
Second.
Okay. Is there any further discussion or debate on the motion? Drew.
Well, I guess I would just happen to say that I've been active with you guys now I mean, going on a year, not quite. And I haven't seen anybody from Wisconsin in any of these meetings. So
Yeah.
I would say that they're inactive. And if they want to pick the ball up again, that's cool. I'll welcome them back. It doesn't have to be different people. Because I don't even know who it was the first time. So I'm cool. I'm cool with that. I don't think there's any reason to keep them hanging here in the probationary status if they are kind of inactive. So I mean, let's just go with it.
Yeah.
Well, I will say that if Drew doesn't even remember Wisconsin because they were around, and that is probably a sign that
That's
it's
definitely.
time.
Yeah. Yeah. Drew's like, Wisconsin? They were here?
So, if there are no objections, I'm just going to call the question. If there are any objections, please object.
Call the question.
Okay. No objections. I'm just going to do a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Massachusetts and Illinois.
Aye.
Okay. All right. Unanimous aye. Wisconsin will be moved off of probationary status and onto the inactive members list. Well, there's not really a list, but you know what I mean. The next motion is that California proposes an amendment to the bylaws to amend Article 6, Section 1.3 to read, a quorum shall be greater than 50% of all member states and probationary states, where member states are counted as one and probationary states are counted as 1/2. The change to this is that originally it is that a quorum shall be 50%, but I have not been ruling it that way because it doesn't seem fair to only require half of the voting members. I think we should require over half. So California wants to go ahead and enshrine this within the bylaws. One suggestion I will make is that, okay, Yari, you may speak.
Yeah, sorry. I guess I just want to make a note. There are two changes actually,
Okay.
and I also made I also linked in chat, and I can link in the, I'll link in the YouTube meeting really quick. The part in the bylaws that this is referencing. So I did that in the YouTube chat as well. Yeah. So there are two changes that are being proposed to that section of the bylaws. Like you said, the greater than 50%, as opposed to just right now, the quorum shall be 50% of all states. But it also says a quorum shall be 50% of all states, probationary states, and observer states. So it counts probationary states and observer states as part of the quorum, and also it counts them both as like 1/2. It counts them the same. And I understand the counting of probationary states as part of a potential here because there's a step in the bylaws where if you are working towards becoming a state, like probationary status for states is not just moving out of the PNC, like as a we're moving you towards inactive, but it can also be a stepping stone towards the PNC. So that makes a bit of sense to me. Like if you're moving towards the PNC and you get like a half part of the quorum and a half vote or something like that, sure. But observer states, there's so many of them, and all observer status means is you send up like there is a person at the meeting. And since we have IRC public meetings where people can just drop in, it doesn't really make any sense to me to include that in requirements for the quorum. I think it's kind of silly. So there's two changes that are made here. One is the greater than 50%. The other is cutting out observer states entirely.
Okay. I am going to be a bit selfish here and say that the change I was going to suggest had to do with probationary states, but after hearing your reasoning, I fully understand it. What I am going to say is that if we do leave probationary states in here, then we should probably treat probationary status a little more seriously than we have been. I'm going to actually count it, and that actually play by the rules. That's not something we need to change. That's just a consequence that I think is going to come of this ruling, is that we should probably start counting probationary states as 0.5% of the quorum. That's all. Who else would like to speak? Okay. Are there any seconds?
I'll second it.
Okay. All right. Discussion and debate. I guess we should have done that part here, but is there any discussion or debate? Okay. Drew?
I guess I think this is probably something that moves forward and fixes some things that are minor issues in the bylaws. And right now, I'm kind of on board with Yari's thought process with the probationary status. So you convinced me. I was kind of thinking maybe we should just only count member states, but yeah, good points. So
I think if we are going to count, I think if we're going to move away from counting probationary states, then that's going to mean a change in the way probationary states are talked about in the bylaws generally, which is something that would mean a bit more discussion. Really, what all this is like changing the bylaws to reflect what we already do. Which is we already think about quorum as generally greater than 50%. We already think about quorum as not even thinking about the observer states. So it's just codifying what already exists and saying so that moving forward, there's not someone who comes in and goes like, well, right here in the bylaws, and then like does something really stupid. Yeah.
Those are the same people that I hate playing board games with.
Yes, exactly. So I'm just cutting it off at the pass.
All right. Are there any objections to calling the question?
The question.
3,
Call it.
2, 1. Okay. I'm just going to do a voice vote again. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. That passes. Congratulations. We have taken another step towards fixing our bylaws.
Yay.
It's been a process 16 years in the making, maybe almost 17. Who knows? Wow, this organization is as old as my younger sister. I'm going to try not to think about that too hard. Anyway, new business. Does anyone have anything to propose? All right, Mitch DeVilla. Don't know why I called you Mitch DeVilla. Mitch, you can talk.
I would like to propose moving Kentucky to the probationary status. Motion. I would like to motion.
Okay.
Kentucky's moved to probationary status.
Either way, that works. Yari, would you like to speak?
Before seconding, I would like to ask if you have a specific reasoning.
Yes. The PNC received an email announcing that the Kentucky Pirate Party intended to leave the PNC. I believe that the situation is not one that is permanent. However, I do believe that the situation is one that may have to be resolved or not ignored. So until it can be resolved, I think probationary status would be best. And then once they are off and once we find out the finality of the situation, we can either make them an active member state once again, or we can move them to inactive as we just did Wisconsin.
Okay. Are there any seconds?
I'll go ahead and second that.
Okay. We are moving on to further discussion and debate. Drew, you would like to speak?
So, if they, I would, I mean, I almost, I know where you're coming from on this with wanting to put them in probationary status here. I'd almost want some confirmation that they are intending on dissociating, or that they are dissociating, actually, that they voted to do that, before I want to pull them into probationary. But
I can confirm that. I've been in contact with Ethan, and
Okay.
he feels that we are all pretty much a joke. His words. I can send you links if you want.
That's okay. If you've been in contact with Ethan directly, okay, then I guess I have my questions answered.
All right. Mitch, you would like to speak?
I was just going to say that Drew, with your concerns in mind, I do believe that even if we wanted to wait for Kentucky's side of the story, I don't believe we will be seeing a representative from the current iteration of the Kentucky Pirate Party attending a PNC meeting anytime soon.
Yari.
To be perfectly clear, both of the representatives, as always, were invited to this meeting. So I mean, there wasn't any change on that part. Yeah, I don't know if that says anything either way. Since I know they've been absent without notice to a fair number of meetings. I don't want to say that it's a lot, but it's a fair number of them. I know they're busy, but yeah, so I don't know what that says.
All right. We're tossing it back to Mitch. Mitch?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. So I want to just state that Ethan is a respected member of the United States Pirate Party, and Kentucky is a valued member state. That being said, I think it's only fair to leave them on probationary status in the hopes that it can be resolved as soon as possible. Wisconsin was just on probationary status for almost a year now. So if probationary status just means right now we are not going to consider you a voting member, but we're not going to make you inactive until we have confirmation that you are indeed done with the United States Pirate Party, I think that's the fairest route to go. Ethan is always welcome, and I believe that once the issues are resolved, and they can be resolved, it will be resolved as soon as possible. It's just at the moment I don't see, with the current state of the Kentucky Pirate Party and with the current state of the United States Pirate Party, I don't see the Kentucky return happening anytime soon.
Actually, if I may. Okay, there's a motion to table the proposal until there's a more formal statement from Kentucky. I don't know. Let me think about my rules here, because there's a motion currently. Someone might have to help me out. There is a motion currently on the floor. I don't believe we can deal with a motion to table until this is resolved. Is that correct?
No, no. The motion is to table the current motion
Okay.
that we're talking about.
Oh no, you're right. Yeah.
So what's on the floor right now would be the motion to table. If
Someone has to second Misty first.
Almost everything has to have a second. So
Okay. Someone has to second Misty. Does anyone want to second Misty? Going once. Going twice. Okay. We will not be taking a vote to table at this current time. We will continue. I do think Misty brings up a good point, though, that I was going to bring up, which is that I really want more information, and I feel that this is a legitimate move, but we have no idea about how this happened. We don't know if it was a vote of the officers or the board. That would be a friendly amendment to
Yeah,
Mitch. So, yes.
to add language that to place them on probationary status pending a statement from their leadership or their representatives. Like that would be the trigger to what happens.
Okay, I will let Mitch deal with that and also give his other reason why his hand was up right now.
I want to say that while I've been the biggest proponent of the tweet is not a sufficient statement of resignation, I think waiting on Kentucky's statement to the PNC of removal is going to be a process that just leaves Kentucky as an absent voting member. I don't believe they are going to be coming back. If Ethan comes back to a PNC meeting as a probationary member, he wouldn't be able to vote on the issue right off the bat. But if he comes back and gives a statement, he's still a voting member, still Pirate Party.
So just to be clear on what I was suggesting is that we vote now to put them on probationary status pending a statement from them. And I mean we can take up later removing them from probationary status if we want to, but I was just thinking that we could if he wants to come back, that would kind of just trigger an automatic return. Or if we got confirmation that he doesn't, that there's nothing, that he's not intending on coming back, then we could just remove them from the rolls. I mean, that's what my intention was.
Okay, Yari.
Yeah, I mostly just wanted clarification of what Drew just said, which Drew just clarified. So thank you.
Okay. Let's see. I am currently hearing that we are. I think we still need some discussion to hammer out some of these details. So let's see. How do I want to deal with this right now?
I mean, do you?
Yeah.
I guess my question is, do you think we're undecided or are you undecided? Because if you're undecided, you should just ask a question.
Well, I'm kind of getting the vibe that we're all a bit undecided, right? Like there's.
I am, and I need a whole 30 seconds at least. I'll give you that.
Okay.
But
so is the friendly amendment being taken or not?
Oh, for the friendly amendment.
Yeah. Mitch.
Can I be, for the record, can the friendly amendment be? It's Drew's amendment. Is the friendly amendment in question?
Yes.
Then yes, I accept the friendly amendment as stated.
Okay, so the friendly amendment as stated that is that, and someone please correct me if I'm wrong, the probationary status will essentially be triggered once we get a statement from Kentucky.
That would be, yeah. So if they want to stay, they're back in. If they're good to go, then we can just there's no question anymore. So
okay.
I mean, yeah.
What I'm wondering though is nope, Mitch, you can talk. We'll give you the floor.
No, I apologize because I do think I misunderstood. They would not be entering probationary status until Ethan himself as captain.
No, they would go to probationary status now, and they would go to observer status, which is I think the next step down, right? Which is like the you don't really exist, if I'm correct.
I think as of right now, observer status as in operation and function versus observer and bylaws are two different things. I think probationary status would be the position we'd be putting them in, the same as we had Wisconsin. Observer status, the way we've been using it as of late, is just interested states looking to get going. So I think the current states listed on the Wikipedia not just the Pirate Party Wikipedia, but the national Wikipedia encyclopedia has the differential between states that are inactive and states that never were. States that say inactive, were once member states, were once PNC members, but have since lost membership, lost voting rights, are no longer members. Which I think that's really going to be the only differential. Kentucky essentially is a state that is lingering, but as of right now could be brought back with these, taking them off observer status. But the next step from observer would just be inactive.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry, from probationary would be inactive rather.
Okay, Yuri.
Yeah, point of information here. I mean, like, observer and inactive are essentially the same thing, right? According to the way the bylaws are worded, inactive is just sort of, yeah. From the frame of reference of the bylaws, observer and inactive are the same thing, because observer is just the word that the bylaws uses for any state that is interested or has the potential to form a party, i.e., a state that wherein someone might show up to a meeting from time to time, but there is no formal structure, there is no voting rights, there is no et cetera, et cetera. And to sort of a point of information here, Drew, is that a friendly amendment that you suggested, which is that they would be moved to probationary now, but then that at Ethan's or Kentucky representative's statement, they would either be moved back to active or to observer / inactive, is essentially already in the bylaws. Article 3, section 4.3.1. At any time throughout the probationary period, the representatives of the probationary state may voluntarily declare their state to be an observer, ending the probationary process. Then there's also a bunch of stuff about how the PNC can use its discretion to eject the probationary state and declare it to be an observer. And then the only way that mind you, I guess, like, the only thing that your amendment would be suggesting is that Kentucky, as a probationary state under this particular leave, would be granted the ability to move back into the PNC as a member state at their own will, as opposed to under a review of the PNC, which is what the bylaws dictate.
I would agree with that assessment. But so the idea here is that we're putting them in probationary status because they've stated their plans to separate from us. I am just good with then letting them decide their own fate, but it's not anybody from Kentucky. It's the individuals that that are running the Kentucky Pirate Party right now. I don't want to leave the door open to, another group to just have PNC status if they come along and say, hey, we're from Kentucky, we're pirates too. So I'm specifically talking about this group, not anybody else from Kentucky. So if another group from Kentucky, if this group decides that they don't want to be part with us anymore, if another group wants to form, I'd be open to them starting the probationary process from the beginning.
Okay. To make everything clear, can you state your friendly amendment? I'm so sorry. Can you state your friendly amendment one more time, and then can I get Mitch to sign off on it one more time?
It is really just that we place Kentucky in probationary status pending their notification of which way they want to go. If they want to stay, they stay. If they want to be to go, they're welcome to go, and we will let them off the rolls.
Okay, Mitch.
I would like to state that I think the only way to make this a fair amendment, with Ethan Osborne being the current captain of the Kentucky Pirate Party and the current recognized captain, and to recognize Drew's concerns, I think the only proper way to take Kentucky off the Pirate Party probationary list then would be exclusively from a statement from Ethan Osborne. So I'm willing to accept Drew's friendly amendment on the condition that the only person who can move Kentucky from probationary to the active list once again would be Ethan. Anyone else wishing to form the Kentucky Pirate Party, I believe, would have to be forming it from scratch.
I am amenable to that.
Okay. I
Point
don't
of
care about
information.
Robert's. I don't care
Point of
about Robert's rules that much. I'm going to let Mitch and Drew.
Point of
Yeah.
information.
Yeah, you are.
This okay, no, but the amendment that has been proposed is exactly what the bylaws say already exists for probation. So nothing has been changed. I'm just saying. So we just moved them to probation. And furthermore, right? Furthermore, the bylaws state that the probationary status must last a minimum of 1 month. Our hands are tied.
Okay.
I think, yeah. So I think the status of probationary state shall persist for a minimum of 1 month. After this month, the PNC shall review whether or not the member state meets the requirements, right? So like we would get to review that state, right? We would get to review that at any time after that 1 month. So if someone besides Ethan comes in, then we can say no, start from the beginning. If Ethan comes in, then we get to say, yeah, great, come back in.
Okay.
Yeah. But we're stuck. It's either probationary state for a month minimum, or we keep them on the rolls. Can't kick them off the ship entirely right away.
My
And you can't-
apologies for not knowing the bylaws so damn well.
Sorry, that's not. I don't mean to be.
Iari's spent hours on this.
I read the bylaws every night before I go to sleep. Anyway, okay.
I was just trying to and make it look like we are making sure that we're leaving the door open if they decide to come back. I just wanted to make sure that was a thing, because I feel like this is something that it seems like they're more upset about than we are, but I don't know the whole story, so.
Yes, so what Yari is saying is that a decent amount of this, except for some subtle implications here and there, is just baked into the bylaws, which is correct. And I know what they're citing. So, Yari, would you like to make a friendly amendment to the friendly amendment that might just revert it back to the original pitch?
I think we can just suggest that the amendment didn't happen, and
I withdraw my amendment. How
Done.
about that?
Okay. So we are just voting to move Kentucky to probational status. Are there any other comments? I might have one. I think it would be beneficial to, even though, we can't really do anything about the status, and it's very unclear, and our bylaws don't even have instructions on how to deal with member states pulling out, so I don't even know if, for procedure reasons, we might just have to keep them technically on probation for a month, even if legal. You know what I mean. Even if they say, yeah, we're out just because we don't have another way to do things, I don't know. But my suggestion is that we should still probably reach out and say, hey, we do need a formal statement. We do need to know the details about how this happened. A tweet is not sufficient. I don't know if we want to work that into a motion or assign an action item for somebody, but that would be my suggestion. Yari.
I think that makes sense. I don't think that should be part of this motion. I think it's the motion. The motion is as is. It's motion to move them to the Kentucky Pirate Party's probation, and understanding that we can be as generous as possible with the terms of that probation, and that we want them back if we can, but I think we should reach out to them. Yes, I agree, but I think that's a separate thing.
Understood. I think that's reasonable. Is there any more discussion?
Call the question.
Okay, can I get a second to that?
Second.
Don't need a second to call the question.
Do we? Do we not? Okay.
No, you just call the question, my friend.
There can be objections, but I don't think you need a second.
Okay. We really need to just ditch Robert's rules. I don't use it anyway. Pennsylvania.
Aye.
Massachusetts. Illinois.
Aye.
And California.
Aye.
Okay, the Kentucky Pirate Party, as it currently stands, is moved to probationary status. I am going to interject here and say they do still technically count for our quorum due to the consequences of the list of decisions that we made tonight. Is that something we are okay with?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Well, yes, but I'm saying we have decided definitively that it is over 50%. And we have a member that we know is on probation, probably won't show up, so we're still in this situation where even with the half point, I'm pretty sure something like 4 out of 5.5 people. No, wait, no. 3.5 isn't.
Because it's.
No, it's 3.25? Is it 3.25?
We'll figure it out. We're still at quorum for today, AJ. So I think.
I know we're still at quorum for today, but
we'll
I am
figure it out.
saying that I'm worried about that. I can't do the math, so this might not be an issue. But I'm worried that it might give us a situation where we require, where we can only have one or no people missing for the foreseeable future.
No, we should be good. What we just did is we we reduced
they got bumped down to a half point.
And then Wisconsin got removed.
I just did the math.
Yeah.
Half of 5.5 is 2.75. So above that is 3. So we are good to roll with 3 out of 5. Never mind then. I did the very simple math that I just couldn't do in my head, and we are okay. Anyone want a motion to adjourn?
Motion
yes.
to adjourn.
Second.
Okay. Voice vote, all in favor.
Aye.
You know what? That counts. Thank you, everybody. Get out of here.
You wanna end it, AJ?
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Remember to go to uspirates.org to join our Discord server, or maybe even go to support.uspirates.org to sign up for some of our mailing lists and things like that. You can also follow us on Twitter @uspirates. And you should subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. And yep, I'm going to do the YouTuber thing. You should also ring the bell icon. Mitch?
I just wanted to say, fight for freedom, read Rediker, and vote pirate.
Read Rediker, I like that. Vote pirate. Good night, everybody. Thank you.